Welcome. My name is Hector Venegas. Engaging Meetings. We are all about meeting design. And meeting design can have different aspects. I used to work a lot of time for technology companies and have used a lot of different technology for events. So what we are doing today, I'm going to show you a little bit about the why. The why on using technology in general. We have an overview, a little bit overview of technology. Of course, I cannot cover everything, but I will cover a lot of different technology possibilities. We'll do hands-on of the state-of-the-art technology. We will work a little bit. We'll make you work on AR. And I will share a little bit about the essential component of any meeting. Why use technology? If you have a small, tiny meeting, a board meeting of 12, 15 people, it's enough to use Flipchart or just to talk to each other or stuff like that. But if you have a setting like that, it's hard to make people interact, to make people work together. And if you have a seating like that, you should definitely try to make people work. Because you shouldn't keep people just in rows, listening to an expert on stage or just listening to some interesting thing, because you will not be able to capture all the information. Some of the meetings are a little bit more sophisticated, I would say, so they have round table setting, perfect, so people can actually look into each other's face. But in the end, it tends, or a lot of meeting planners tend to end up with the same thing. There's a speaker on stage talking, and other people are listening. We can break that up with some short discussions, that is good, but how can we make people somehow interact? Another thing here, for example, is a panel discussion. Okay, we have more experts on stage. And panel discussions are sometimes nice if there's a real controversial discussion going on. But most of the time it's, yes, I agree, totally agree. And they talk about the same topic and they all agree on the same topic, which is quite boring. Here the setting, just to show you some pictures, is a typical pharmaceutical event. They are so very old-fashioned, unfortunately, most of the time. We do a lot of pharmaceutical events. And it's hard to get that because pharmaceutical, okay, we all know about the code. So there's really hard to get something into that is a little bit funny, a little bit out of the box. So they do a lot of these things, and I still see, for example, things like that, PowerPoint presentations that are filled with lots of information. They're great information, necessary information, but how would you ever get that into the heads of people? This is boring, and people start sleeping after a while. That happens to us all. Short question, I want honesty. Who of you had ever fallen asleep at a conference or a meeting? I'm honest too. I've done that. Actually, a couple of times. And then in the end, not even coffee will help. There's always coffee possibilities, but I get the same. Like after the sixth cup of coffee, I'm like more shaky, but I'm still tired. So it doesn't work. So people came up with great technology. So along the time when technology came and boosted, like maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago already, a lot of good technology came up and we use technology. But sometimes it's used in the wrong way. Pictures like these, for example. Okay, you have more screens. Wow. But if you show on these screens the same PowerPoint presentation, you don't have any kind of value to it. It's just more screens. And you can see here the same thing that I was saying before. Everyone is in the dark. There's an expert on stage talking, and you have a lot of screens. Okay, you can put some nice colors to it, mission and vision and whatsoever, or something like that. I have been at an event where there was a watch out. It was 35 meters long. And you really had the impression that you had to walk half an hour from one side to the other. That is great to have that. It is amazing to have that if you use it wisely, if it is used with a purpose. But how was it used? They showed the power presentation 3 times. There, in the middle, and on the other side. Woo-hoo! How valuable is that? And most of you will know that it is very expensive to have that. So all the light in the room comes from this screen. People are still totally in the dark. People will fall asleep, and it's not used wisely. Another thing I just saw recently, it's been there for a while, is a hologram. Using holograms is a great thing to do. If you have, for example, some CEO, CFO, whoever, who cannot attend the meeting, wow, let's beam him in from Tokyo. and then he is at the same time talking to the people. That's amazing. Other things, if you do it nicely and do it funny, you can talk to yourself. Oh, hi Hector. Hi Hector, how are you doing? And stuff like that, which is nice if you do use it with a purpose. But also that can sometimes only be a gimmick, and we have to be very aware that we don't use technology as a gimmick. If it's used wisely, it is good, but not as a gimmick. We use technology usually because the human attention span is, oh, look, a squirrel. Or to put it this way, the human attention span has going down. It was 12 seconds by 2000, 8 seconds by 2013, and it's now, the goldfish has a 9-second attention span. I don't know how they tested that, but I would have loved to be there testing that. Hey, look, and testing the goldfish attention span. But it's true. Our attention span is not that big. If we are just in a very, very fast society, very fast community, our industry has become so fast. It used to be when I started, that's more than 20 years, it's 24 years now. I used to get emails. We already had emails, woo. And I could answer the client in a matter of days. Nowadays, when I get an email, people want the response immediately. And if I just send back, okay, I received your email, I'm going to work on it, I'm going to come back on you later. But that takes time, it's time consuming. I have a lot of customers that write me WhatsApp nowadays. They send me WhatsApp so they can see, basically, when I read the notice, and I can immediately answer back. And I have to immediately answer back because that is what they expect. So that's how fast our industry has become. We work a lot. You all know that. When we work from outside, when we are at a conference like that, we try to enjoy the conference, and most of us really do enjoy the conference. But at the same time, we all have our devices here. We all answer different emails and everything. So we are a very fast industry. And that's why also, if you listen to a speaker talking about a very, very interesting topic to you that you really wanted to hear, you will only be able to really listen to him for 20 minutes. There's no way that you can do that longer than that. It's only going to be 20 minutes, done. Nothing else. You can try coffee, you can do anything. So what we need to do is make people work. We have to make people work. We have to make people interact. Actually, as a meeting designer, we should not have these kind of seating. If it was up to me, and that was not my decision, we wouldn't have had this kind of seating anyway. Because in rows, you're not able to interact. You're not able to talk to each other. You can say, hi, I'm Hector. You can say, hi, I'm Hector, but that's it. So we need a face-to-face communication is what we call it. So let's have it face-to-face and not ear-to-ear. So, by the way, just I can talk forever, but if you have any kind of question, we have a microphone, so any time you can ask any question. Just please stop me at any time. People invented different technologies. There are a lot of technologies out there, different apps, different possibilities. One of the first one was to stop the Q&A. So what I just said, there's a microphone, please talk into the microphone. I know it's not good enough. So if you have, we still have the Slido, so if you want to ask questions over Slido, go ahead. But Q&A has been done like that for decades. There are some microphones here in the room, please talk into the microphone. We are not all the persons that would love to talk into a microphone. We are usually not the person that think, my question is really interesting for everyone. So it is nicer. You see some iPads there, and it is nicer, for example, just to insert the question into an iPad. We did not put that in here because we have Slido possibilities, but nevertheless, there is possibilities to put some question into an iPad, and then rank the questions, and then you see the very valuable questions in the room in a matter of seconds. So I could have all the questions here, and then you see the ranking. So the answer possibility to these questions is usually like 10 minutes. So I should focus on the most relevant questions in the room. And we could do that with iPads. The very first interaction things, or one of the very first I can remember, is the clicker pads. They were good. Actually, they've been used still, which is interesting because it's a technology from the 1970s. And they're still good, better than nothing. But there's so much more nowadays that can be used. So we use iPads, we use iPhones, or whatever other technology, whatever other smartphone you would have, with apps or with things that we can stream on your devices, or we bring our own devices, as we usually do, and we bring our own devices, and you can do interactions with your own devices. We are a sharing community. We have so much sharing possibilities. We use Facebook, we use Twitter, we use LinkedIn, and a lot of other sharing possibilities. A lot of offices are actually working remotely, and there are so many things like Slack, different other things that you can share different thoughts on. And we are used to do that every day. Why don't we bring that into the face-to-face communication? And there's possibilities. Like here, for example, even if you have a really big audience, like 400 people in a room, you can still do brainstormings. Brainstormings doesn't have to be only with a couple of people in a room. And just imagine all these people here. You are all professionals from the meeting and events industry. The knowledge in this room is amazing. If we could tap into this wisdom of crowds, that would be great. Just know and just come up with great ideas. And that can be done, for example, with settings like that, where you have these kinds of monitors or different kind of computers that are all in a network of computers. And you could put information in and then shuffle like gold nuggets shuffling, and then in the end you get all the information when everybody can share the information. So you put all the information in there, everybody can see the information, it can be evaluated. There's so much more that you can do that. Of course, these are set round table settings. It might also be with iPads. That's a little bit more flexible. So using iPads, we do that all the time. And having iPads there where you can share ideas, put some new stuff in, co-create some ideas. This is amazing what you can do if you think what is relevant for the participants, what is according to the objectives of the event. VR. I have to admit, I have my problems with VR in meetings and events. I love VR. The possibilities that we're having nowadays, just to put a VR glass on and then look at something that we are not even in. Yesterday, I had a nice discussion with a girl from Trinidad and Tobago, and she said, how great would it be just putting a VR glass or a VR device on, whatever it's Oculus or if it's a Samsung device, and just see and feel how it is to be in Trinidad and Tobago. I haven't been there. A lot of people haven't been there. That's amazing, and for that, it's just amazing. If I go to IMEX, for example, or IBTM, and I talk to a lot of hotels, I love it just to put that on and just walk through the hotel and see how the hotel looks like. Then I actually don't have to go there, because I can get a good impression of how the hotel really works. But in a setting like that, and that was an event from Facebook and Samsung, if you put everyone, if you have everyone with a device like that, first of all, it is a logistical nightmare. Second of all, it is very, very, very expensive. You have here Zuckerberg standing on stage and looking at that, and it's an individual thing. Any VR is an individual experience that you might have. So using VR for a lot of people is just, please tell me otherwise. I'm happy to have some information if you've experienced differently. But I think what is missing here, I have put the three monkeys here because see no evil, hear no evil, and talk no evil. But what is missing is this. This is what we want in any kind of event, meeting, whatever it is, when people come together. It is the face-to-face communication. This is what we need. This is what we come for events. Why would we come to WEC here if it wasn't to talk about other people? It is great to see the pep rallies. It is great to hear some different kind of discussions about a lot of things. But what we want is the face-to-face communication. And that is what we have to enhance. It's more about the H2H, the human-to-human communication, than the B2C, B2B, or whatever. It is about the human-to-human relation. So this is how we have to use technology to make it the human-to-human, to enhance the human-to-human relations. I have the great honor now to introduce you to David James Thomas. He is one of the partners of Consensus, and Consensus is our partner when it comes to technology. I'm a meeting designer. I don't have my own technology, but Consensus has that. And they do AR. And I'll give the word to David to tell you a little bit how they work with it.
And absolutely apologies. And my mother couldn't decide which first name to give me, so I got all three. My name is David, and I'm from Consensus. Originally, I'm from Wales. If you've got any trouble with the accent, I'm sure we can put some subtitles on the screen. And also, I've lost my voice, as you can see. Talking about augmented reality, and we're going to have a little bit of fun and a bit of engaging today. This is an example of a meeting that we did in a pharmaceutical meeting, where it was a results meeting where we had to take the iPads and find a way to kind of network and bring participants together. So what this was, they held the iPad up and they scanned, and the iPad's camera could recognize the country flag. And then result data would appear on the iPads related to that specific country. It could be the prevalence of diabetes or the prevalence of obesity, but it was a really good way to drive the traffic to the particular booths out in the break area, and also to see something very visual and very engaging for the participants to discuss. Another example on the next one there, Hector. Yep. This was where we had delegates from different countries. So we had the posters only printed in English. And when, for example, a Japanese delegate would scan the poster, it would translate the entire poster into Japanese through the iPad. So it's a really clever tool to save on costs, but also to really engage into that kind of environment. So we're going to do that today. And what I would love you all to do, my colleague is going to come and help me now. But
please welcome Lewis.
Welcome Lewis here.
Lewis Stock over here.
He's the better looking one of the team. So what we're going to do a little icebreaker, because I think icebreakers are quite important during a meeting, because we can get so bogged down into the technicalities of the particular slides. So I would today we're all going to compete in rows, but we're going to hand out iPads now, and I would love you all to get into groups, chat to each other, and I would like you to take a row selfie. You're going to take a selfie, and you're going to press send, and we're going to stream those photos on a screen. So I would like you to stand up.
So for those of you who are only one or two in a row, please join the next row so you can be a team. So we want to have teams.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're going to, for the team selfie, it is the iPads that Lewis is distributing, so the other iPads will be used.
So Lewis is going to come around on this row to give you iPads, but I'd like you to all to stand up and all to start doing this exercise. Yep. Yeah, and it's going to be, right now, it's going to be the big ones that Lewis is going to be handed out to you. Yep. So I'd like you to take the picture, and hey, Lewis, we can go and help them out. And then
you
press
can walk
send
around,
and
you can go
submit
to
at
the other
end.
side. Perfect.
Yep.
Just try to get all your team in one picture. I'm sure you can do it. We're all very good at selfies. You can get out of the row.
Yep. All right, no worries. And once you've taken a photo on the big iPads, you can pass that on.
Pass it on to the teams that still haven't done
Lewis?
Wonderful.
And Lewis, has everyone submitted? Been submitting?
You have to press send.
Yeah. Can you say that?
Don't forget to press send, please. When you're done with a selfie, press send.
You do it. I got it.
Okay, still 2 groups to go.
All right, nice. Normally we do this exercise at the start of the welcome and intro session, where they can do a little selfie exercise. It gets people discussing, gets people talking. Of course, this is not augmented reality, but I just wanted us to get up and have a little bit of fun.
It is worse. It is real reality. So
and
this
all
is
like the
actually
selfie
how
image.
we all look like. So face it, use it. The augmented reality is so much nicer. You can put different other things on that. I could be James Bond.
And we'll show the selfies in a little bit, and then we go to the next slide.
Okay, so
Yep. All right. Now, the next thing I would love us to talk about is going to be this is another idea where we do the augmented reality wall. And as you see right behind you, we've brought out a real-life example of this wall. Okay? So what we did in this case exercise, there was a lot of problems in the conference where privacy was a big issue. So we had to come up with a solution where the data wasn't printed out in the area. So we used this map of America where you got all the different states and regions. And when the participants scanned each of the states and regions, it would automatically scan and tell you what the state was. And then you could bring up a PowerPoint or a video or a voting question or an interactive exercise related to that specific state or region. So what I would like you to do now is to take the individual iPad minis that you have on the seats, and please share them if you need to. And I would like you to take that. We're going to go into the app should already be logged in for you. And I would love us to, there's a couple of challenges I would like you to do. I would like some groups to go to the wall and scan the wall on the front and back and have a little experiment, and there'll be questions and you'll be competing in different rows. And there's also a little treasure hunt. So you'll see on the sides, there's little speech bubbles. You'll find on the floor out there's a little square. There's little diamonds over here on the right. And when you scan those, it will unlock videos and other informations and ideas that you could potentially do.
This all is a quiz for all you, and it's a challenge for all of you. So you will be competing in your own teams now. So in those rows that you have been, take those iPads from the rows and please bring it back then to the seats afterwards. But what you will do, I will give you 10 minutes to walk around. You can scan in those codes, you can scan in the map of America there, and you will have some information about the chapters of the MPI Americas. And there will be some questions. The questions are not easy. It will be some points for activity, and there will be some points for the real good right answers. So go ahead. The more you scan, the better. And the more right answers you have, the better. We will have some prizes for the teams that wins. So go ahead now. I have 10 minutes, and you go now. Is there questions?
We're all good.
Yeah?
Yep. And you might have to go a little bit closer to scan and do the interactions. So if you take a little bit of time and practice. And not all states have specific questions, but you can move on to the next.
Not all of the states have also chapters. So some of the chapters, some of them have actually 2 chapters.
And the icon that you scan there is just to show some examples of exercises that we can do on the iPads. That doesn't have to be just a vote. Yep.
So what we're seeing right now here is that Team A, 8B, row 8B, that would be in the middle, the 8th row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the team that is leading right now.
my scan, it gives me the same question. Is that what
That
I'm supposed to do?
we have over there.
I've scanned on both sides, always the same question.
It's just one question over there, and some.
No, it's our own custom.
But back here is some more.
It's asking us to log in.
Okay. Maybe you can take another one from the team, or is there all taken?
fine.
Okay. Oh, Louis, just a second. Louis? Okay.
Cool.
No, yeah. So as I can see now, it's a really nice, even distribution of people between the different sections. So this could be a really good way to drive traffic to booths, to different sections within the meeting. There we go. We got one little stretch image up there. I just thought I'd put the selfies up from earlier as well.
All right. I would give you another 2 minutes. You have to come to an end. Still a lot of scanning back there at the map. That's good. I hope you have good knowledge about the MPI chapters and about the numbers of the MPI chapters. It's easier if you have your own chapter, but I'm sure it's hard for you to know what kind of membership numbers you have. And
But I think the importance of it is the fact that just think about putting PowerPoints, PDFs, different exercises, is to really think what is the scenario for you at your meeting. So it's to give you a little idea of what's possible.
just after the. Yeah. All right, so another minute. If you're already done, some of the rows are very think that they have done a lot.
It's nice to see the even distribution, right?
Yeah.
Did you get one from there? Brilliant. You can scan these as well. I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, it's 10 seconds to go.
I'll tell you the winner in a minute. Yeah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're out. So please stop scanning now. That's going to be hard to stop them. But we're not giving you any points anymore, so I'm sorry. The points are off. Please come back to your seats. Bring the iPads, leave them on the seat. We'll need them later.
And I just thought I'd mention a conference that we're doing next month to give you another understanding. We're doing a conference for a diabetes company where they're going to have insulin pens all out at the event. And when you scan the insulin pen on the iPad, the insulin pen is going to explode apart, and you can see how the insulin travels through the pen and how it can inject a patient. So to give you an idea of what's possible, the limitation is, of course, cost and your creativity. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, David. Well, David's going to join us in a minute when we say who won the challenge. What I want to talk to you about is meeting design, basically, because I mentioned it before, you have to use technology with a purpose. Me as a meeting designer, I want to face on the objectives of the meeting. What are the objectives? And the objectives are usually not the only objectives of the meeting owner. It's also the objectives of different other stakeholders in any event. And there are basically three groups of stakeholders. That would be the meeting owner, the meeting planner, and everybody who's associated with him, of course, and the participants. We tend to forget the participants. Participants are usually invited. They're invited to any kind of event and say, okay, you have to be there from 9 o'clock on Saturday until 6 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever kind of day. And most of the people are like, okay, if it's a management meeting, they are like, God damn it. At home, there's so much work, or at my office, and I have to be there because they said so. Nobody cares. A lot of people don't care in the planning process and in the invitation process. Is this person really relevant to the objectives of the event? What has to be different after the event than before? And is that person going to be able to contribute something? So if we make people come to an event, they should be integrated into the event. They should be participants. That's why I don't like the term audience engagement. I think the term audience engagement is something that does not fit. Because an audience cannot be engaged. If the audience is engaged, it's not audience anymore. It's participants. So audience engagement is something that is from the idea, and that's why it started with the clicker pads, for example, is just to make audience engage, which is a good idea, but you have to think how to do that. That's where meeting design comes into. So as I spoke about, it's the objectives. Think about the objectives and what kind of technology, of all the existing technology, be it apps, be it AR, be it VR, be it the possibilities that are there, co-creation, whatever it is, really fits the objectives. What is it? What can make fit the objectives? Don't use technology as a gimmick. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And what we want in the end is happy participants. So we want the participants to be happy, to get the knowledge that we want to share, to make something different the next day, to be able to make something different on the next day. So, of course, you all want to know who the winner is. Asking David again to come on stage for that.
All right, Hector, could you switch to the second computer for me?
That was number?
Thank you very much. Number 2?
2.
Yep.
As you perfectly can see, I'm not the technology guy here.
And the winner is 6B. So that is one. So it's the gentleman there, very tall gentleman, if you like to stand back. So it's the whole row, this row here. Yep, the whole row.
Please come and join us on stage, the whole row. Please come. We have a gift for you. Please come and join us on stage. Please clap a hand of applause for this gentleman. Please come on stage. And as I told you before that the attention span of us is lower than a goldfish, I have some goldfish for you. Actually, I hope it's going to be better. But it can be better if you use this technology wisely. Thank you very much. And congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I have a little checklist for you to round this up. And after that, I'm happy to have some questions and answers. I don't know if you put some in Slido, somebody's going to tell me, or if we have some that came online. But a little checklist first, set clear objectives to any kind of meeting or event, even meetings, and I mean it, in meetings in offices. There are so many meetings where you think that's just a waste of time because they're not real objectives. Use a suitable technology, some that really fits, some that is not a gimmick, a technology that really fits to the objectives, to the people that you have invited. Know the people that you have invited. Make sure it supports the tasks. Show the results. It's always needed to show results. If you have Q&A, people type in something, put it on there. Show the result. People want to know. And if I put a question in there, I want to know where it is. If I have the possibility of liking questions, for example, it might be that my question was not as relevant. But I still would say, oh, okay, it was not as relevant. It was not on the top 10. That's okay. I'm happy with that, but still show the results. there is definitely no one-size-fits-all. So if you have, I don't know, and used an app, Double Dutch, Slido, whatever other great apps out there, you cannot just take that, copy-paste into the next meeting, into the next event. Just think if that really is relevant for the next one or not. And if you want to know about a little bit about meeting design, over there, there's a little suitcase on that table, and just put in your business card, and I'll be happy to send you a meeting design ebook that we have done. It's all about meeting design. We have other sessions going on with about meeting design. And if you have any questions for me or for David or for Louis, we're all here. Please, we're happy to answer your questions. So you can ask now via microphone. You can send via Slido or anything, or just come up and talk to me.